Come with me as I go do some hair after my 12-hour shift. And we're adding some timestamps so we see how this process goes from start to finish. If you're new here, hey, my name's Melissa, and I do a lot of things. One of which is doing hair occasionally. First stop, had to get gas, because if you know me, I'm always on E. Well, not always, maybe sometimes, maybe most of the times. But anyways, around 8, that's when I'm winding down, getting ready for bed, refresh, you feel me, shower, keep it cool. If you work overnight and you don't have blackout curtains, honey, what are you doing? Get into it. All right, so on a good day, I'm knocked out by 8:30 and I'm back up, as you can see, at 2 something. We were shooting for 4 for the appointment. I had already bought the hair a day before and went ahead and prepped it before the appointment. And as you can see, I did not eat before bed, so I went ahead and made a little shrimp taco bowl and ate that and gave my girl some too when she got here. So this is how much hair we're working with, period. My girl's not bald-headed, but more work for me, yay. This is the style she asked for: a bit of Fulani, cornrows in the front, and boho braids, singles in the back. For this style, I started off with parting half and half, the front and the back. So then as I sectioned the back, I went ahead and started my rows. And I grab as I go with when it comes to doing the knotless braids. I don't start with a lot, I add as I go. And this is how I add the boho into the braid. It's more so like a tuck under, and then I use the clip to hold the curl in place so that it's not getting into the braid and, you know, tingling in there. Generally add about like 2 to 3 curls per braid, but it's all up to the client. So just know the more curly hair you add, the fuller it'll look with the curls, and then less, the more that the braids will appear. So by now it's 6:40, almost 7 o'clock, and we're I want to say almost halfway through with the back. We're moving, probably a little bit slower than I used to go, but we're moving. Patience. A lot of the times, what takes most of the time is the separating of the hair. As you can see, as the rack slims down with the hair, I add some more. By now, we've reached the top part of the back, and as you can see, the method stays the same. I tuck the hair under, and then I start the knotless braid. Same thing for the boho hair. Tuck it under, then clip it so it's out the way, and continue to braid and braid it all the way down. All right, so by this point, the pattern continues. We've reached the top of the back half of the hairstyle. Same method. Start off with the minimal amount of braiding hair for the knotless braids, and add as you go with the boho hair, and braid all the way down to the end. So by around 9:50, we finally make it to halfway of the front of the hair, because I already started some of the braids. But this is just a little bit of my braiding method for the cornrows. You can slow it down a little bit to see how to start it off if you're a beginner braider. But this is how I add the hair in as I do this particular cornrow design. And I don't add too much because we're not going for like a bulky look. We still want it to look, you know, a little as natural as possible with her hair thickness. This is the braiding gel that I use to, you know, part and do the braid style so that we don't have any flyaways. Once again, this is the method of starting the cornrow braid. I do not add any braiding hair as I go. You always want to go by the thickness of the person's hair too. So if you're not going for the bulky look with your cornrows and the person has thick hair, you don't start with a lot of hair. You're most likely starting with their hair. And you know, same method continues. If you're adding the braiding hair, you tuck under and continue. You don't add too much because, once again, we're not going for no bulky look. We want to keep it as natural as possible. Okay, so by this point, we're tired, but we're pushing through, okay? We're doing the same method, adding a little design with the braid. I'm yawning just thinking about it. Same method. We add the hair underneath and tuck. Not too much hair. The mix of hair we used was a color 30 and 27, so that's why we have like a little bit of a highlight look going on. And this is how I separate the hair for that particular braiding design. So you part in like 3 sections for each row of the 2 rows, and then you just go ahead and braid it down like the crisscross design that we've seen. So you braid one cube and you go, a little diagonally to the right and continue to cornrow and braid. I don't add too much hair. As you can see, I only added a little bit of the 27, and then I went ahead and crisscross diagonally to continue that braid and section it. So by 11, we are at the last braid. This is the last braid, and your girl is ready to be done, to be dipping that hair and to go ahead and hit the hay for the night, honey. And like I mentioned, half the time of, braiding the whole style, you're going to be, separating hair on the rack, and you're doing 2 different hair types. You're doing the braiding hair and separating the boho hair as well. So when you do the style, don't focus too much on, the time and how long it takes you to, complete it. But just know that it'll be completed. So at this point, we made it through, and we're moussing the hair so that it lays down and the hair stays put perfectly, rotting the ends so that it gives that curl effect, and we boil it in some hot water. Our goal was to finish before midnight, and I can gladly say we met our goal, because by 11:50, this was the final product, and this is how it turned out. And our client was well pleased, honey, and ready for her vacation. So by around 12, we're done cleaning up, wrapping up for the day, and we get ready to go to bed, shower, sleep. Thank God for another day, and off to bed until our next ventures for the next day.